Audience? Okay, so go ahead and watch. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the process of cellular respiration. And that part of it happens in a mitochondria. So this is a mitochondria. It has two membranes. Mitochondria. And then out here is the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay? And there's three parts to this. Please stop. Three parts to this. First part is called glycolysis. Okay, glucose break apart. Lysis means break apart. Then inside the mitochondria we have the citric acid cycle. It used to be called the Krebs cycle, but now it's citric acid cycle. And then the electron transport chain, ETC. So those are our three main parts. And how this works is a cell uses a chemical called glucose for energy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is our glucose. It has 6 carbons attached. And that's going to go through a chemical process called glycolysis. And when that happens, it's going to break apart into 2 halves. So each half has 3. Anytime you break bonds apart, you are also going to get some energy. So we're going to make 2 ATPs of energy from some ADPs. So that's a little chunk of energy we got. And we're also going to make some chemicals called NADHs, which are going to end up over here. NADH. Okay. Now, if there's no oxygen for this, to do the next step, because not every organism has oxygen or has a mitochondria, then it's going to do something called fermentation. Okay, and we're either going to get alcohol or lactic acid with that. But most of the time, these little pieces of glucose are small enough now they can enter the mitochondria, and they're going to go to the citric acid cycle. So in this cycle, what happens is our little chains of 3 are going to get further broken down into completely separate pieces as it goes through a set of chemical reactions in the cycle. The carbons on here are all going to leave the cell in the form of carbon dioxide. So we're left with the H's from these glucose that are left. And as this goes around the cycle, we're going to make a lot more NADH. And we're also going to make some FADH2. This has a less energy than this guy, but it's still important. We're also going to make 2 more ATP, which is our main energy source we're most concerned about. Okay, so we started with sugar, we broke it all apart, we got rid of the carbon, and all of the hydrogen is now going to this electron transport chain. This is going to do a series of little chemical reactions until at the end we have all the H's are turned into water because they got mixed up with some oxygen that the cell got. So these energy carriers react with oxygen, do lots of little reactions. At the end we end up with some water plus 32 ATP that we were able to make from those reactions. Okay. These guys here, after they drop off their energy, will go back to the cycle and pick up more energy like our photosynthesis batteries. So to recap here, glucose goes in, breaks apart some more, release carbon dioxide. The energy from those reactions go to the electron transport chain, mixes with some oxygen. We end up with 32 ATP and some water. And then 32 plus 2 plus 2 gives us a grand total of 36 ATP all together. And that is cellular respiration.